Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Nosebleeds. I am Chris Witt. Sitting next to me is Mr. Adam Schmidt. How are you today, sir?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be you.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well, I guess.
That's what I'm talking about. That sounds good. That sounds good. Hey, we're back here today. We're gonna get into a little Major League Baseball to start. Get us into some NBA playoffs to end this thing. I know we've had a few fans. One fan said they can't stand the NBA and don't want us to talk about it anymore. But Dad, I'm sorry. It is what it is. You're gonna have to listen to it.
Your dad does not dislike the NBA.
He maybe he doesn't dislike it, but he doesn't know anything about it, and that's the last thing he wants to hear about, apparently.
Oh.
Too bad for him.
He's going to love it. He's going to fall in love with the NBA after this podcast.
That's what I like to hear. I think that sounds good. All right, so we're down here in the dungeon today, down in the office room. This is Nosebleeds podcast number 2, talking sports. We're a couple cousins here for anybody that hasn't listened to this. Adam Schmidt can be found for the tweeter.
At Adam Schmidt 44.
So I was listening to Marty Party on ESPN. What's that guy's name? He real southern drawl. He's on ESPN all the time. They always talk about Marty Party. Anyway, he was on Saturday morning and he kept saying the tweeter, and he said it like 5 times, and I was like, man, I feel like I can't use that one anymore.
Is that the show like early Saturday morning with the 2 country guys or whatever? And
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
One
of them's a pastor. Yeah. It's great sports talk radio, man.
That's definitely a different kind of show.
Yeah.
You don't hear that much.
I love it. Anyway, so Adam can be found, Adam Schmidt 44. If you want to get a hold of either of us at the Twitter, I'm at Sick With It. We are here, ready to go, and let's get right into it, man.
You can also find us on Facebook at the Nosebleeds.
That's right. You can friend us, like us, or however that works. Hit the thumb button up, the thumb up button. You can catch this on YouTube. You can catch it on SoundCloud. You can catch it on the iTunes now, and you can catch it on Castbox. So jump on any of those. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe. We'd appreciate it. Give us any kind of feedback that you want. All right, that sounds good. So let's get to the Reds then. Why not? We're from Cincinnati. Let's start with Cincinnati. We're going to make this real quick because there is not a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, they're so the great thing is, they could be worse because they're 3-15 after the 2-0 loss today. So, I mean, what if they were 0-18, right? I mean, that could be a lot worse.
That's one way to say it. I guess that's one way to go about it.
That's one way to see it, and then the more realistic way is that this is a really bad team. They have the worst record in baseball now. This was their 4th shutout today. Lost 2-0 to the Brewers. Their pitching's bad, their hitting's bad. They're just an all-around bad baseball team.
Not fun to watch. They're not fun to watch.
They're not fun to watch.
They don't hit. Nobody hits the ball. There's no action at all during a game. And surprisingly, these young pitchers are actually pitching pretty well. I mean, throw 2-3 starts out of the way. We've had good starts. Sauermano had a good start yesterday. Who started the game today? Pitched good
Tyler
today.
Mahle.
Tyler Mahle pitched good today. Homer Bailey, he's the veteran. He should be pitching all right. He might be, on the back end of he might be the 4th best starter in this rotation. But it's the offense where I thought we would be so good. This offense is terrible. Votto, 15 games, hasn't hit a bomb yet.
Nope. He has 1 extra base hit so far this year. He's hitting 258. I'm not worried about Votto, but right now he's not hitting, and if he's not hitting, nobody else is hitting.
No doubt.
They're not going to score.
With Suarez not in this lineup and Votto not hitting, I mean, that's your power 1 and 2. So if those 2 aren't going, these guys are terrible.
That's the other thing is this is an extremely injured team. Suarez has been out. Schebler's been out.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Your everyday right fielder isn't in. I mean, there's 25 home runs right there.
Right. Of course, DeSclafani's been out. David Hernandez hasn't pitched yet. Lorenzen's been out. Kevin Shackelford's been out. Jesse Winker missed a few games with a shoulder injury. He's back now, but Mesoraco just got hit in the hand. He's going to be out a game or two probably.
Everything came back negative on him, thankfully, because that poor guy is just he's an injury waiting to happen, it seems like.
Yeah, but so X-rays are fine, but he's sore today, so we'll see with him. He's the backup anyway, but anyway, this is a very injured team. So they're juggling lineups and but nobody's hitting. Believe it or not, so it seems like the hitting is really the problem and the pitching's not that bad. Highest ERA in the majors, highest WHIP in the majors. They've given up the most home runs, the most runs in the majors.
It's a young team. And like I said, you throw a few starts out. They gave up some 13 and 10 and 15 run games.
Yeah.
But if you throw some of those big games out, they really haven't been bad. And their bullpen, their bullpen counts on 3 guys. And you can't throw the same 3 guys out there every day.
Right.
Garrett has been phenomenal.
Yep.
I don't think he's given up a run yet.
He has not.
He got himself out of a heck of a jam the other night. I'm just waiting. I don't understand why he's not starting at this point in time.
Yeah, I think he will at some point in the during the season because somebody will get hurt again. Somebody will somebody will just pitch bad
Cody
enough
Reed
to pitch
in again.
Well, that might that might be the case. And Finnegan's going to pitch, and Malley and Bailey and Castillo. I mean, there are a bunch of guys that might as well get a chance as long as they're pitching. But Amir Garrett deserves it just as much as anybody right now.
I agree.
So, but it's a long season. It's early, obviously, 18 games in. But so only 18 games in, my question to you is, how much longer does Brian Price have?
There's no reason to get rid of him. I mean, what's the point of getting rid of him right now? Right. His team is terrible. Mm-hmm. He has nothing to work with. He can't put anything on the field with any talent. He's got 6 guys on the whole team that should actually be on a major league roster probably. He shouldn't be gone. I hate all this talk about him. The whole plan from the beginning was for Brian Price to take this team, help them get to that level. Once they get there, then get him out of here. He 1 or 2 managerial decisions that were bad maybe over the past week or 2. Mm-hmm. But you know what? If he had talent on the field, 1, he probably wouldn't have had to make it, and 2, they might have worked.
Yeah, he would look like a genius if he had better players.
Sure.
But the thing is, and I wholeheartedly agree with you that there's no reason to get rid of him. But you know what happens. I mean, you know what happens. This happens to teams every year, and it's happened to the Reds in the past. They're not going to win, and there's going to be a change made. I don't think he lasts the rest of the season. I think it would be wrong to get rid of him because, like, I totally agree with you. No reason to get rid of him. It's not his fault that they're losing. Yeah, he's a better pitching coach than a manager, but still, it's not. They're not losing because of Brian Price. They wouldn't be any better without him.
Right.
But I just think that he's going to get the axe at some point this year. When it is, I don't know. But I can see in the next month even. I mean, even as early as that, if they continue on
whoever they bring in, what are they going to do differently?
Yeah, nothing.
What decision has he made that anybody else could have made differently that would have made this team that much better?
Right. And they're not, maybe they get lucky and end up finding some innovative manager like a Joe Madden or somebody that, just brings something, or just like maybe an incredible communicator or somebody that changes the culture maybe somehow. But you're not going to find that right now. If you get rid of your manager today or tomorrow, you're not finding that because,
you're putting your back against the wall. Now, all of a sudden, you got to find somebody right now. You don't have the time to go out and look. No, I that's another reason I don't think. And Barry Larkin going out and almost promoting himself as manager. I love Barry Larkin, but stay up in the front. When it's your turn, you'll get your turn. I promise.
Yeah. Yeah, he will likely get an opportunity at some point to be the Reds manager.
If anything, he doesn't want that opportunity now. It'll be like Tony Perez, and he'll manage for 56 games and get cut too.
Yeah. So I don't know. Look, it's basically already a lost season. I'm going to keep up, and I think we're going to still.
Of course.
I think we're still going to talk about them,
Yeah.
each podcast, even if it's for 30 seconds. But, just because that, they're our hometown team. We both grew up, going to a ton of games, and we still go to games even when they're bad.
100%. And I, I'm going to always bring up how Billy Hamilton's hitting 172, really knocking the cover off the ball. Although I got to say, his 12 runs scored, I don't think anybody has runs, if you add their runs and RBIs up, can beat that except Jesse Winker. So good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. But yeah, and what's funny is he's hitting 172. Adam Duvall's at like 175.
Yeah.
Winker's at 234 or something like that.
It's terrible.
They've got a bunch of guys that just aren't hitting, and like we said, when Votto's not hitting the ball, and nobody else is, they're hitting 220 as a team, and yeah.
That is horrible.
That's bad.
Horrible. So anyway, to better news. So I saw the craziest thing the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of my favorite. All right, so broken bats. Chris Davis is been seen this year already breaking a bat over his knee. I love that stuff. Guys get pissed off and break these bats. So Bryce Harper the other night comes up. I've seen a guy hit a home run and break a bat, but it's always just been a slight splinter, something like that. Bat's still intact. I think Vladimir Guerrero did it once. I think Bo Jackson's done it. I've never seen somebody, after he swings, only have the handle of the bat in his hand and the ball go over the fence.
That was so impressive. And the bat flew, I think, over to the dugout or something like that.
It flew straight back.
Was it back?
Yeah, he broke it and it flipped off straight behind him. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's hard to do. That's a powerful person.
The dude is a monster, and he is on fire right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's already got 7 home runs. I think the Reds might have 7 home runs as a team.
Yeah. They've
I'm not
given
kidding.
up. Yeah,
it's really close.
Yeah, they've given up like 29 and hit a few, but but that was really impressive. That's one of those things that you see on all over social media and stuff like that as soon as it happens, because it's very rare. And it's just really fun to watch.
Bryce Harper has 7 home runs. The Reds have 11.
So why don't they just trade, if Billy Hamilton's so bad, why don't they just trade Billy Hamilton for Bryce Harper?
I feel like that's a straight up trade that should be made today. I feel like that needs to be done.
I don't see why that couldn't be done.
I feel like if I was in the front office, if I was in a general manager chair, I bet that I would just constantly stay on the phone. I think I could talk him into it. I
guarantee it. I would make a new trade every day, because whoever's not playing well, I would just trade them for the guy that's playing the best on another team.
I feel like that should be easily done.
I just don't understand why that doesn't happen.
I'll even give them a bag of balls if they want them.
Sure. Bag of balls.
I feel like Billy Hamilton and a new bat. Bryce is breaking all these bats. Why do they want him on the team? I'll give them Billy Hamilton a bag of balls, and I will throw in 100 Louisville Sluggers.
Wow.
Yeah, 100 of them.
That's
all
valuable.
Different sizes too.
Yeah, because Bryce Harper's costing you money by breaking these bats.
That's right.
You don't want to do that. You're trying to make money as an owner.
Imagine the amount of money that the Nationals are losing because of Bryce Harper and all the bats he breaks.
Yeah. I'm
surprised they're still even there. I'm surprised they can even.
You can't even sustain
put
a business
team on
like
the field.
that. Yeah, all right. Anyway.
Oh, that's good. Oh, so Shohei Ohtani had the opportunity the other day. Also, this is a kid that we both have talked about and absolutely love. He had an opportunity the other day to be the first player, I believe, since Babe Ruth, if I'm not mistaken, to have 3 wins and 3 homers in the same month.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to hear stuff like that all year.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt.
And because he's a very good pitcher and a very good hitter. And, things didn't go as well for him. That was the big showdown the other day, was him versus the Red Sox, who have been,
He didn't make it 2 innings, hurt hand,
right.
Came out, and that game got way out of hand once he came out of the game, too.
Yeah. Mookie Betts, I think, had 3 home runs.
3 bombs.
But yeah, and it was just a blister that Ohtani had, I think, and so he's going to be fine. But it'll be interesting to see that matchup again. The next time they play them, and he gets an opportunity to stay in the game, the entire game, and see what he can do against the best team in baseball right now.
100%, the hottest team in baseball.
Right.
They're on fire.
Right. All right. Well, so before we transition over to basketball,
okay.
Last week you were nice enough to surprise me with get to know Adam, a rapid fire questions to see how I would respond.
Which, by the way, you are terrible at rapid fire.
I'm as bad as it gets.
Rapid fire means question, answer, question, answer, question, answer.
That's why I go to the grocery store to pick up like 2 things, and I'm there for an hour and a half because I have to look at everything, and I cannot decide between 2 things.
Single man, no kids, and he's in the baby wipes aisle, and he's trying to decide if he wants Pampers or Huggies baby wipes, and then he realizes, what do I need these for?
I've never had to buy diapers or wipes or anything yet, but yeah, I'm an extremely indecisive person, and it's a curse. Anyhow, you're going to be a lot better at this. We are going to learn who Chris Witt is.
Oh, man.
By doing the same sort of thing, rapid fire questions. I have a bunch of questions, but I think you're going to be a lot better than I was at it, so I think it's going to go pretty quick.
All right, well, I'm just going to try my hardest not to cuss.
Okay.
First, because if I'm not thinking and I'm just throwing words out, I can't guarantee I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth.
Look, this is a podcast. The FCC's that has no regulation over us.
Very true. Very true.
So, and I just realized as you said that it's probably going to take me longer to ask the questions than it is for you to answer the questions.
That's all right. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So number 1, you're on death row, about to get the firing squad. I chose the firing squad as how you're gonna
instead of a noose. I'm good with that.
So I don't know what you did, but it was bad.
Okay.
Because people don't get the firing squad in this country. But anyway, you're getting it. What's your last meal?
Oh, 100% bacon. I'm just having probably 3 pounds of bacon.
Oh my God.
But I get to cook it because I don't want anybody else cooking my bacon all flimsy with the little rubbery crap at the end of it. I hate that. I want some nice crispy bacon, not burnt, crispy, cooked evenly all the way through. I'm digging it. Yes, 100%.
Goodness gracious. I mean, you gave us so much more out of that answer than I even asked for.
Sorry.
Which is no, that's perfect. That's
right.
what we're trying to get to know you.
All right.
We know what your meal is and how you like your bacon cooked.
And how I like to have my death punishments.
Yeah. Well, I chose that for you, but anyway.
I'm down with it, though.
Final 4, World Series, NBA Finals, or Super Bowl?
World Series.
You keep your thermostat on. Let me say it this way.
Hold on a second. Is that for my team? Like if I could see my team in something, or just for me, what my favorite thing to watch is?
Your favorite event.
My favorite event out of those 4 would be the World Series. I love the World Series.
Your thermostat here at your house is on
70.
If you lived by yourself, your thermostat at your house would be on
67.
And you'd wear shorts and a T-shirt and
all
no
day.
Shoes.
Fatty needs it cool in there, brother. I walk up the steps, I'm sweating like a hornet.
Do hornets sweat?
Yeah, brother. Let me tell you.
Okay.
You ever seen a hornet fly by dripping water off of them?
No, I have not.
It happens.
Oh,
I promise.
You learn something new every day. Gosh,
that's right.
I learned stuff about you and hornets. Okay, so your favorite sports moment of your lifetime?
Favorite sports? Man, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with Benzinger backing and calling with the Reds in the 1990 World Series, but man, that's really tough because the second would have to be the Red Sox when they won their first World Series in 2004. That was an incredible. I was older, and that was an incredible moment in my life. I was a huge Red Sox fan.
I thought you were gonna go with whatever your best game was at St. Dominic.
No, well, I don't.
You went 5 for 5 or something and like stole
maybe
6
from
bases
the free throw line. Hit
baseball
wise.
Yeah.
Now I do have a plaque.
You guys
that says,
beat visitation
I have a
something.
plaque when I was a junior in high school. My coach gave me instead of an MVP, he gave me a plaque that says to a special player and it like every other word is capitalized and the next one's not. It's terribly done. It looks hilarious, but it says to a special player who stole home 3 times in a single season.
Oh, I love that.
You were at a game when I stole home.
I probably was.
You and Joe were at a game when I stole home.
I love that. You're the only guy that plays CYO baseball #1 and the only guy that steals home. That's so cool. Oh, God.
I made the call. I made the call all 3 times. I can't. I overcalled. I told the third base coach to put the take sign on so I didn't get hit in the head.
That's a good move.
Yeah, and I'm also the slowest guy on the team. So
no, not back then. You were fast back then. You were
pretty slow.
You were Ricky.
All
Henderson
right.
Back then.
One more. Or how many more you got?
Holy cow, do I have a lot more? If only one of your teams, only one of your favorite teams could win their championship for the rest of your life one time, who would it be?
Xavier. They never
Xavier
got
basketball.
one. Xavier basketball.
Yep. I knew it would be between them and the Reds, or I thought it would be.
I got a Reds, and I don't care about the Bengals. If at this point, between those 3, it would be Xavier, Reds, Bengals.
But you were like 7 when the Reds won the World Series.
I was.
Anyway,
I was age nothing because it's never happened when Xavier did. So
that's true. Very first thing you wash in the shower.
Hair.
Oh. Favorite TV show of all time?
I go top to bottom, man. That
Okay.
soap's got to soak down. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want the dirt to slowly come down. It's not like I'm washing my midsection, then throw the shampoo in, and all the dirtiness of my hair now goes over my midsection. Doesn't make any sense.
You're strategic about your shower.
Big time.
Oh,
big
good
time.
for you.
Yes.
Favorite TV show of all time?
Favorite TV show? I almost said Murphy Brown because I used to love Murphy Brown, but no, Seinfeld.
Wow, okay. Murphy Brown would be, I would expect no one to say Murphy Brown. Wow, that blows me away. I like it. That's different. Favorite music act of all time?
Music? I don't even know what that is. So
favorite musician, singer, rapper?
Ludacris.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
Sublime.
Oh, God, that would have been a good one.
It was not with Rome. It wasn't. It was Sublime with Rome, and 311 was the main event.
Oh, God.
Awesome concert.
Favorite movie of all time?
Field of Dreams.
Favorite sports movie of all time would also be Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup. Mustard's nasty.
You slime belly gutter snipe.
Disgusting.
Chicken or turkey?
Chicken.
Okay.
How many more of these you got?
The very last one is this.
Okay.
Quickly describe your dream house and the location.
100% would still be in Delhi because I'm a West Sider till the day I die. My dream house, don't care what is in my dream house, and nothing matters. I want 2 things. I want a basketball court to where I can do just about any sport inside. And then I have to have an anti-gravity room because I think that'd be the most amazing thing in the world.
Could
you imagine walking into a room and just, I would have pads all over the walls and you just walk in and start floating. I'd bring a drink in with me, set it in midair with a string on it, turn it sideways, and let the water just come right to me.
You'd have to get NASA to build that for you, I think.
Super. Yeah, I'm down. Oh, well, there you go. That's what I want.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Christopher James
There you
Witt.
go. Well, that sounds good. Now you know us both. Listen to the last podcast, the Nosebleeds #1. If you didn't get to know Adam, there's some good Adam questions in there as well.
Nice job on that.
All right, appreciate it. All right, so let's get into let's on that note, the NBA is in playoff season right now, brother. One of our favorite times, obviously, any kind of postseason is always a lot of fun. The NBA, a lot of times the NBA can start off really slow in the postseason, and it did, in my opinion, start off pretty slow, especially the Cavs, my favorite team right now. They started off really slow. Picked it up today, Game 2, got the W. What's your take, man? What do you think about this postseason so far?
Well, that series specifically, yeah, Game 1, the Pacers were so good defensively. They were. I think they led the entire game. They held the Cavs to 80 points, and that Pacers team it just doesn't on paper look like it would be good at all, and they just win. I mean, that was the biggest surprise I think maybe to me of any team. There are a few other teams that are right up there too, but as far as surprises.
Who's on that team? Victor Oladipo and Lance Stevenson? I mean, is that it? I mean, who else is on that team?
Yeah,
they got some white guy, Jokanovic, who whatever comes out there and plays some D.
Bojan Bogdanovic, right? Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
I can only say it 1 time fast.
Can you try it too?
Bojan Bogdanovic.
I'm impressed.
If I'm pronouncing that correctly. But anyway, they do have Domantas Sabonis. They have Thaddeus Young. They have Miles Turner. But I mean,
you just named 4 guys that half of the people that are listening to this couldn't pick them out of a lineup. Except for maybe the Abanis guy, because he's probably some big, tall, ugly-looking guy.
He's Arvydas Sabonis' son, but
which is one of the ugliest men to ever play in the NBA.
One of the greatest European players ever. Anyway, so that they're a really surprised team, but they won a ton of games this year. They ended up 13, 14 games over 500, and nobody thought they were going to do that. They got the 5th seed in the East. And in that first game, they looked so good defensively. Victor Oladipo, I think, led the NBA in steals this year. He had 4 in that game. They got down tonight against the Cavs 16-1 to start and 19-3, and then they went on a big run in the second half. And they made a game out of it, and it was a 3-point game with.
When that happens in these games, those first 5-10 minutes, I don't care what happens. Big runs happen like that throughout
all the time.
In an NBA game, those go back and forth so much. So when a game, it just looks worse because it's the beginning. So like a 16-1 run to start out a game, that doesn't faze me too much. I'm going to continue. I'm still vested in that game.
Sure.
I'm not changing the channel quite yet. But I know what you're saying, where they have, even when they get down, they stick with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they had an open 3 today to tie it with about 22 seconds left.
Yeah.
Oladipo had, it was a little long. It was a deep 3, but it was open. It was an open 3. And then from there, free throws beat them. But
they're a really tough team, and they're going to stay with the Cavs, I think. And now it goes, so they split 1-1, and now they go back for 2 in Indiana.
Right.
I think they probably split that, but I still think the Cavs probably beat them in 6 games. But I think all these games could be really good games, like they were, like it was tonight.
They haven't given us any reason to think otherwise.
Right.
Up to this point. Although, LeBron with his, what did he have, 20 the other night, and everybody was kind of giving him some hell about. Didn't look like he really wanted to be there. He was, trying to get his team involved too much. Didn't take a shot in the first 11 minutes of the game. Well, he came out, and that's one thing I love about LeBron James. He came out today and said, "You know what, MFers, I'm gonna show y'all how it's done."
Well, they got his attention, I think.
46.
He's not
46.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to sleepwalk through this Pacers team. He's
not.
Well,
he's not going to be able to sleepwalk through any team because he is the Cavs right now. I mean, what's he got? He's got George Hill. He's got Larry Nance Jr. And
J.R.
Smith.
Right.
And, Kevin Love busted his hand up. Didn't look too good today, but still, I mean, what he does have Kevin Love. Kevin Love's a phenomenal basketball player. That's really what he's got. J.R. Smith, who's a role player on most teams, he's just a shooter, but he's asked to do a lot for this team when he's one of the few guys that'll take a big shot.
Yeah. I still like their roster, and especially after making all those moves in the middle of the season and stuff.
Yeah,
I like their roster. It's not, it's not the best team he's had, but I think it's good enough that I still think they're gonna win the East. I do. They might not look great doing it, but I think they're going to end up doing it.
Doesn't matter how you get there.
Right. But, so they're probably going to have to go through probably Toronto, maybe even Boston. A lot of people have written off Boston, but, they're up 2-0. They're up 2-0 in that series against Milwaukee, and Milwaukee was a team, that a lot of people, including myself, we're looking for big things. But this Boston team missing Kyrie Irving for the rest of the playoffs, and they've missed him for a while. They're really young, and everybody's expecting them to kind of fall off. But it's, they're disciplined. They're a good defensive team, and they have one of the best coaches in the league. Brad Stevens is right there now, I think, with just about anybody.
And he's proved it now with this lineup that he's putting out there, and to go 2-0 against a good Bucks team. Now, this Bucks team's nothing special. Obviously, they have a freak on their team, literally. But I mean, they're nothing. We both said that the way they were injured, I thought this was an upset waiting to happen. The Bucks have shown that they are not nearly as good as we think they are.
Down the stretch, they traded for Eric Bledsoe to try to help him out too.
Yep.
He has been absolutely outplayed by Terry Rozier.
Terry Rozier has been, it's like I don't know where this kid came from. It's like he's getting his opportunity, and he's making every single bit of it.
He's playing so well. Jaylen Brown had 30 yesterday. He's finally kind of coming around. If he keeps playing that way, Jason Tatum plays the way he's played all year, and Rozier can keep up anywhere close to the level that he's played. And then they have other guys, even Aaron Baines comes in and plays pretty well defensively, and, Marcus Morris, and, they're a pretty tough team. So, I mean, they can I don't think they'll come out of the East, but I think they could give Cleveland some problems. They could give Toronto some problems.
So speaking of Toronto, so Toronto currently up 2-0 on this Wizards team. This is pretty well over, right? I mean, I love John Wall. And I do like this Wizards team, but at this point in time, this Toronto Raptors team's playing damn good basketball.
They are. Having said that, I don't think this series is over.
Really?
I don't think this series is over. They did. They're up 2-0. DeRozan, Lowry, Ibaka, Valanciunas, they're all playing really well. Yesterday's game, Bradley Beal played awful. Markieff Morris.
One of the two Morris brothers. I gotcha, yeah.
Markieff Morris and Marcin Gortat. None of those guys played well. Beal shot like 29% or something from the floor. John Wall played well, but those other guys are going to play better.
Right.
They're not going to play the way they did in the first two games, especially that second game. And they didn't get blown out necessarily. And I think the other thing is they didn't play well yesterday, but they only turned the ball over. Washington only turned the ball over 8 times in that game.
Oh, that's pretty impressive.
And that's really good. But so I don't think the series is as lopsided as it looks at 2-0. I really don't think so. And they're also going back to Washington now. So I expect their role players, and Beal is almost a borderline all-star. So I expect those guys. I expect Wall to keep playing well and maybe even better, and those other guys to kind of pick it up a little bit. And I think they could. No, I think Toronto is going to take the series. I do.
But you think that you do think they're going to take one, possibly a second?
I think they could even take 2. I do. So I think it could be a 6-game series.
I give John Wall 1 game, but this Raptors team is a really good basketball team, and they get a lot of hate because of how they usually play when they get up against LeBron in the playoffs. But this is a really good basketball team.
Yeah.
All right, so Sixers Heat, man, this is a series that we both thought was, we kind of liked, but it seemed like we were both pretty much on the Sixers side. But old Dwayne Wade showing what a little bit of rest can do for an all-star. My man had one heck of a game the other night.
Man. He
basically won it all by himself.
He did. He had, especially in the first half, he went for 21 or something like that in the first half. And then they maintained after game 1. It looked like the Sixers were just going to blow the Heat away in the series, and then Dwayne came out and had a great game, and they played well, and they kind of, and they also forced Ben Simmons they pressured him a little bit more, so it's not as easy for him to get around and pass the ball and stuff like that. And they forced him to shoot and stuff like so. They're trying to make some adjustments now. I think the Sixers are still better for sure. And you're talking about Joel Embiid coming back possibly for Game 3, if not probably for Game 4. And he made it very clear after last game on social media.
I'm tired of being babied.
He's tired of being babied.
Did we talk about this before? I love Joel Embiid and the way that he is okay with saying whatever the hell he wants. I know that it's what did you say? I believe your words were on the fence about it, or maybe you just don't like it.
No,
I love
on
it.
the fence.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Tell him you're feeling baby. That's right. Yeah, tell him that it's not you. I want to be out there.
And that's fair enough. And everybody knows. And he's a competitor, and he wants to play, and it's the playoffs, and I'm sure it's killing him to sit there and watch the game, especially from what I understand, he was running around like a kid in warm-ups and jumping around and just doing everything he would have had to do probably in a game. Except, it's the medical staff's job to make sure he's 100%
all the
safe.
money and all the investments and all that stuff. It's
Maybe
the
not even
playoffs,
that, but
man. It's the playoffs, and you are a good team now. The process. Maybe you think you're still going through it, but the process is to the top now. So we're in the playoffs, brother. It's time to let your team play.
It is, and one of the things is. They won, was it 17 straight games? I think before they lost the other night, and those were without Embiid. Most of them were without Embiid.
Right.
And people have been talking about how they play so much faster without him, and they have the athletes to do that. They can play fast and they look really good, especially with Ben Simmons running the show.
Small lineups are becoming more and more bigger in the NBA anyway.
Right. But also, you get Embiid back in there. A really good post scorer. He'll rebound. He'll.
And it's not like he doesn't run the floor.
Right. Yeah, he can run the floor. He's not going to blow you away with his speed, but he can run the floor. He can finish in transition, and he's going to make them better. They might have to play a little bit differently, but they were really good with him all year, or pretty good with him all year.
Yeah.
And so, but he's so he'll come in and he'll give them a really strong post presence. And Ben Simmons, I'm sure, will adjust to the Heat's adjustments to him. The Sixers, I think, maybe because they go back to Miami now for 2, so maybe they split those. But I think the Sixers win in 6 at the most.
Yeah, I think this Sixers team is just too good. I think they're too good. I think this is I love watching them play basketball. They're just the enthusiasm. Ben Simmons is a monster.
Yeah. He reminds me, honestly, of LeBron James.
He does.
He really reminds me of LeBron.
And really, if you look at his size compared to what LeBron was when he first got in the league, it's not that far off.
No.
They're really close to the same size.
Yeah, he's actually a little bit taller, I think, than LeBron, and he has pretty much the same skills. And
LeBron wasn't a shooter at that point in time.
No,
I mean, he shot more threes than Ben Simmons does. I don't know if Ben Simmons has even attempted a 3 all year. Yeah. I'm sure he has, but what I'm saying is I believe that the much better shooter or has a ways to go with that. Anyway,
right.
So let's move to the West because the West is where it's at. They all say this is the best conference in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So tell me about it. So let's start with the number 1 seed. The Houston Rockets are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rockets won the first game. They're up 15 right now. It's halftime.
Yeah, I don't think that the Timberwolves put together that impressive roster over the offseason, and I still like it. But and I was hoping they would be a top 3 or 4 seed in the West, and
so
and
hard
be
to
really
do.
Good. It is.
This Minnesota Timberwolves team would be probably a 2 seed in the East.
They could be. Yep. Yeah,
I mean they're a good team in the East.
Right. And I always I'm always going to believe in a Tom Thibodeau team because he's so defensive minded, and when he gets his players to really engage on the defensive end, they can be really good because they have the players that that can be good defensive players, great defensive players, and score too. Jimmy Butler's a 2-way player.
Yep.
They have Jamal Crawford coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I like any team that has Jamal Crawford coming off the bench, honestly. But yeah, they have, and Karl Anthony Towns is one of the best players, period, in the league.
Cat is turning it up. I love why he is. You look at all these Kentucky players in the NBA right now, and I'll tell you what, Calipari, he knows talent.
He turns them out.
And he does too.
He turns them out. Now, having said that about Karl Anthony Towns, I think the X factor in this series is Clint Capella, because he's a guy. So, James Harden's going to get 30. Chris Paul is going to play well. They have their shooters. They're Ryan Andersons and Eric Gordon's. Trevor Ariza is going to play defense. They have a really good team. They have a better team, and they were the most dominant team all year. They were the best team pretty much all year, which is saying a lot with the way the Warriors have been the last few years. But the Rockets have been really solid. Clint Capella has turned into a really good player. Thank you to James Harden, but
Sure.
he really has turned it, and he can kind of, if he can neutralize, Karl Anthony Towns is 3 times the player Clint Capella is, but if he can neutralize him a little bit, just use his length, make it tougher on Towns to score, just be a defensive presence, get tips and stuff that maybe some other guys that aren't as long can to get rebounds away from Towns.
Yeah.
Just put a body on him and stuff, and just be a rim protector. And Clint Capella can be a big deal, and then just be that pick and roll guy that just goes to the rim and
get your easy bucket when everybody doubles on Paul or Harden.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think he's gonna be a big factor, but.
So you think they're going to sweep? I think this is a sweep here. I think this is a sweep. I think this is a 4-0 sweep, unfortunately, for your boy Towns. But that's where I'm at.
It's so hard for me to ever think that anybody's going to sweep anybody. Like, I almost never choose a sweep. There's a good chance that this happens.
Yeah.
If Minnesota takes,
you're going to give them a game. I know you're going to give them a game because you are that guy.
I am that guy. Minnesota might take one at home, but this series ends in 5 at the most, I think.
All right, so real quick, we got news today that Greg Popovich's wife, Erin Popovich, passed away. Terrible, sad news. She was only, 67 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible thing. It's anytime. I can't even imagine how he feels. I can't imagine how difficult this is going to be to continue to coach in this playoffs. They are down 2-0 right now to the Golden State Warriors, though. So I imagine that this isn't going to last very much longer, especially with Kawhi out. LaMarcus Aldridge has been playing the best basketball he's played in quite a while, but Kevin Durant's not letting this happen so far, and maybe it's not a bad thing for San Antonio to get knocked out in the first round, and because this is a time that honestly Pop needs to be somewhere different right now.
So yesterday there was a video. It was yesterday, the day before. Popovich was interviewed. It was after the last game that they lost, and they've been blown out both
yeah
games.
It weren't even games.
And the Warriors are blowing them out without Steph Curry. So this looks, if any series looks like a sweep, this one kind of looks like a sweep now. And
They're won by 21 and
I'm
15.
as big a Spurs fan as I know,
Sure.
and I hate to see it, but they're just not. They just do not have the firepower to play with Golden State.
And they look like they know that they're overpowered. Yeah. And they don't have a chance.
I think so. And Popovich has oddly been kind of jovial after those games because he's been making jokes and stuff in the press conference because he knows what it's about. Yeah. And what I was going to say is after their game, maybe it was the next morning at practice or something, somebody asked him, what he thinks about being blown out or whatever. And, he went into this whole thing about he said, I get a front row seat to NBA games every night. I fly on really nice jets. Everywhere I go, I get free food. I get to watch. I get to be a part of watching these young guys develop and grow as men. And he talked about how great his job is.
That's not Greg Popovich. We know.
It's
that
not,
he lets out. That he lets the people see.
That's the thing. He can be both though. And that's what. So he has always been the king of perspective though, because he is number one about his players being human beings before they're basketball players, and he's talked before about how much less important basketball is than so much other stuff in your life. I mean, he's talked about that stuff before. And this is a time now where you're going to see where he's been there for so many guys who have gone through stuff in their lives, and he's been like a father figure, or and he's such a great communicator. He has such great perspective, and he's so good for his guys, and that's why guys love playing for him, because he's not 100% about basketball and what are you doing for me on the basketball court right now. He's human being first, basketball coach second. And so right now is where we're going to kind of see what this means to him. It's hard for me. I can't decide whether I think he's going to coach or he might not.
I don't. I wouldn't coach, me personally, because that's the one thing about Pop that I've always loved is that you have a life outside of anybody else has a job. You have a life outside that job, and your life is most of your. That's what you are most of the time. That job is just a small portion of it,
right?
And the way, and plus they're getting blown out. They've lost by 21 and 15. They're getting their heads beat in. Yeah, I wouldn't be there. And to be honest, I don't think Pop will be there for the next game either.
Yeah,
he might coach that fourth game, but. Because of that, as if everything's over with and done and they schedule everything. But, yeah.
Yeah, and they talk about, players and just people in general that go through this kind of thing and that go back to their regular jobs. Sometimes people go back to their regular jobs to kind of get back to some sort of normalcy.
Sure.
Or to just get their mind off instead of sitting around the house.
And that again sounds like something Pop would be like,
and he could, yeah. And I can't decide. Number one, I didn't even know she was sick. She's apparently
idea.
has had. I don't know what it is because I just heard this on my way over to your house to do this.
Yeah,
but it was some sort of illness that she's been dealing with for a long time. I had no idea.
I didn't know. I had no idea either. I just saw something flash quick. They were mentioning something about the Spurs general manager putting a statement out, and I saw underneath on the line. So we don't really have a ton of information on it, but
right. So I don't know what he's going to do, but either way, whatever, he's going to make the right decision for him. And I think everybody's going to support whatever he decides to do. But it's whatever he decides to do. I don't think he's going to have an impact on this series at all.
Not
I think
at all.
I think it's over in the next two games.
All right. So thoughts, prayers go out to Mr. Pop and family, but let's move on to the Pelicans Blazers, which has been the kind of the big. I think when Boogie Cousins went down, that everybody thought that this Pelicans team was still really good, but maybe not that they were going to be able to get out of that first round. They were still kind of young. They don't have the deepest bench in the world. Right now they're running a point guard of Rajon Rondo, who looks like a whole new player again, playing with the eyebrow.
Anthony Davis, yeah. Playoff Rondo's back. So
exactly. Not the playoff Rondo that just stands there while his guy gets the ball and drives straight to the basket.
Right, regular season Rondo. The story, of course, Anthony Davis is an MVP candidate. I think everybody's talking about it. The MVP either being James Harden or LeBron James. Number 3, I think, is Anthony Davis, and he might be number 2. Because of the way that he's played since DeMarcus Cousins went down, and the record that
keep this team in the Western Conference playoffs was impressive at that point in time.
I don't know how good I thought they were with DeMarcus Cousins, and then after he went down, like they were good, and then after he went down, it almost seems like they got better, and not that losing DeMarcus Cousins makes you better. I have my issues with his attitude and all that kind of stuff, but as a player, he's as good a big guy in the game as there is. And I want to see him and Anthony Davis be like one of the greatest duos of all time and be really good together.
I want to see it because all these little guys are the guys that people talk about now, and I love the big guys. So if you get 2 big guys and they can make that kind of a run, I love it.
That'd be fun to watch, yeah. Probably
you got to get him back first. But yeah.
The best big guy combo since probably David Robinson and Tim Duncan or something.
100%. I would say there's no doubt that there's nobody has been in between with 2 big guys I can think of.
Right, yeah. So yeah, and that this New Orleans team for me is just as big a surprise as the Pacers were, and an even bigger surprise in this series to be up 2-0. and
win, heading home.
Yeah, and win 2 games in Portland. And Portland, how good Portland was. And that's the thing too, is Portland is their guards. It's Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, and Rajon Rondo and Drew Holiday have outplayed those 2 guys.
Drew Holiday has manned up on Damian Lillard and has held him to. I mean, he has been a huge reason. I mean, you don't think about Drew Holiday ever as being a guy who's going to change a playoff series, but to me right now, he is the reason they are where they are. He's got the length. He's quick enough that he can get around, that he can get through the pick and roll and make Lillard's life a little bit more difficult and keep a hand in his face so he doesn't have a shot afterwards.
Yeah, as long as he keeps up that defense and Rondo keeps playing the way he's playing and orchestrating that offense and doing anything he wants and finding every open shooter and being the best passer in the game again. I don't think, I think Portland can certainly at least split. I think they can make this a series again because I think they're too good. Damian Lillard's too good to average 17 points for the rest of the playoffs, or for the rest of the series like he has so far. And so I think they're going to be better, and they have a couple other role players that aren't bad too. Nurkic is good and everything. But so I don't think this is over. I don't think it's a sweep or anything like that. But right now, New Orleans is so in the driver's seat, and it's 100%. Such a surprise.
They took 2, and now they get to go home.
And they get to go home. Yeah, with a chance to end this thing in 4 or 5.
Yeah. Good luck. That's what I say to them. Good luck. I love to see the Pelicans because I really like Anthony Davis.
Sure.
He seems like just like a LeBron James kind of guy, just a good guy. You don't ever hear about any kind of trouble or anything like that. He just seems like a good guy. I really like him.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Oklahoma City Thunder, Utah Jazz. Utah has officially taken game number 2 today. Yes, they won by 7. So they have officially taken the series is tied 1-1, going to Utah.
Going to, okay. So OKC shot the ball really well in that first game. Paul George had 36.
Paul George could not miss in that first game.
Yeah, Westbrook had 29 and I think 14 rebounds and 8 assists or something like that. So he does his normal thing. But they need to take care of the ball. OKC needs to take care of the ball. They had 17 turnovers and 16 assists.
I was just going to say, I remember a 16 number. I thought it was 16 turnovers. So 17 turnovers, 16 assists.
That's really
bad. But
bad.
That's the kind of basketball that team plays. Look at who their stars are. Their stars are 3 guys that are known as ISO players.
Yeah.
They God knows we've all been talking about Carmelo Anthony for years now. He's an ISO player. The guy doesn't pass the ball.
Right.
He wants the ball all the time in his hands, which Melo's getting a little older. He's the same age as LeBron, I think, but whatever. We say he's getting a little older. Paul George, same way. When he gets the ball, I feel like he's more of an ISO guy, and God knows that as much as he's going to have 10, 15 assists or whatever in a game, I'm sorry, but Russell Westbrook, the ball's in his hands. He's putting up the shot.
Sure. Yeah, and that's why the ball's in his hands most of the time, and he's going to make whatever decision that team's going to make on most offensive possessions, and that's why he has, 12, 13, 14 assists and 5 or 6 or 7 turnovers a lot of times because he's just going to decide what they're going to do. And that's fine because he's, I think I might have said this last time, he's probably my favorite player in the league. And he's just because he's a really good player. He's a really good player.
The man is dynamic.
Very dynamic. Doesn't always make the best decisions, but is so good and so athletic and so fast and so strong. He's a great player. But that OKC team is gonna have to play more team basketball, and they're gonna have to stop turning it over so much, and they're gonna have to pass the ball to beat this Utah team, because this Utah team is another team like the Pelicans, like the Pacers, that on paper you're like, I don't know, and they're led by a rookie, which is odd nowadays.
Yeah.
But Donovan Mitchell has been really good this year, and while I think Ben Simmons is Rookie of the Year, if they gave co-rookies of the year to Ben Simmons and Donovan Mitchell, I'd be happy with that.
Those two are cracking me up. Well, not those two, but Donovan Mitchell's cracking me up with his definition of a rookie on the back and on his shirt, on his sweatshirt, walking into games. I love it. I have fun with it. Those two it's obviously a joke and not a personal thing, so I think it's a lot of fun.
I want to see, and I think this series could go 7 games, and I think it's going to be fun to watch.
All right, that sounds good. So that's the end of the playoffs. We're coming to the end of this podcast for Nosebleeds number 2. Now, next week, we plan on getting back together and doing this again. Probably going to stay because I'm sure the first round of the playoffs will still be going on because the first round of the NBA playoffs goes on for about 4 weeks. So...
Hey, every series is 7 games.
I know it. So we'll get into – that's right, yeah, because there's no sweeps.
Right.
So we will get into some more NBA playoffs. And something I'd like to get into next week, maybe a little bit of this Colin Kaepernick deal and what your take is on it, what you think about how the league has treated him, if they're right, wrong, indifferent, what you think. Go from there. So tune in for that. We're going to get into some more MLB, probably talk a little bit of Reds, even though it's really hard to do for us right now. So check us out, Adam Schmidt, at Adam Schmidt 44.
On Twitter, yes, sir.
I'm at Sickwitted if you want to say anything to me, SICWHITTIT.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, too.
Like us on Facebook.
Nosebleeds.
The Nosebleeds. You can search The Nosebleeds on YouTube, on iTunes, SoundCloud, or on CastBox, and you should be able to find us. Like, subscribe, have fun. We really appreciate everything, guys, and enjoy your weekend, and we will talk to you guys next week.